Thank you, Paul. First of all, I want to thank everyone for being here. This past Saturday, we lost a very special member of our 1958 Lambert Cup championship football team. Mr. Jack the Bear Dempsey passed away just immediately after our victory against OU. So our thoughts and prayers are with he and his family. Jack was a part of that team and was, to my understanding, was the glue behind keeping that whole team together for many, many years. As I tell people all the time, I said, when it's hard enough to keep one team together for one season, let alone for 50 years. And Jack would always organize the reunions and keep these guys going. So we're gonna miss Jack, and very important to get that out to he and his family. It was a great win Saturday for our program. One of the top MAC East teams in OU showed that in a close game, we learned how to win. We learned a lot from the Tennessee game, the Ball State game. I was proud of the way our coaches and our players prepared and responded. Looking at the film, and this young man sitting next to me to my left, Nigel Johnson, had his second play of the game. And we always talk about setting the tone. And if you watch that game, Nigel, number 22 here, read the play perfectly, came up on a big hit, and really inspired our entire football team and the crowd. Nigel is a sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia, but he was born in Buffalo. But when he lived here for like a few months, and then they moved him down to Atlanta. His mom's a UB grad. He's got a lot of family and support here. He comes from a great, family. As I said, he cares deeply. Nigel was a walk-on. It was a non-scholarship football player and earned his way through our program through special teams and just demonstrating his level of commitment and passion for the University of Buffalo. So, we're real proud to have him representing our football team here today. Now it's about getting the next one at Temple. And, our leadership maturity will demonstrate how we respond going on the road against a very good Temple football team. So with that, I'll open up for any questions.
Well, Jeff, when you look, their statistics speak for themselves when you look at Temple, but when they played Penn State close, beat Maryland big, but yet there must be a chink in the armor looking at what Toledo, did to them. What does the Toledo blueprint show you guys?
Well, I think they, again, Toledo did a good job in terms of getting turnovers. In that game, they were able to take the ball away 4 times, and they took good care of the football. And anytime you get extra possessions in the game of football, you've always got a better chance. I think they got on them early and certainly was able to, respond through the entire game. And then there were some short fields. Where Toledo was able to take advantage of it. So, I don't think it was anything, unique or mysterious. I mean, statistically, Temple is a great football team. We know that. They've got great personnel, good size, good speed, and they're well coached. So it's going to be a tremendous opportunity for our kids to go on the road and play against a good football team.
Have the teams that have had success against them been able to get them out of sort of their blueprint, their plan, which is stop you with good defense and run the ball and not have to throw very much? Has that really been the only way teams have been able to beat them, is to force them out of that?
Well, the Penn State and the Toledo game, certainly, the Penn State went down to the wire, as we know, and, the Toledo game for them, certainly, as I mentioned, the turnovers, and, you need to take, they're a ball control offense. They know who they are, and that's who they want to be. And, certainly what we need to do is go back into, having a great game plan. I know Coach Inge will have our defense ready. We're built to, stop the run. They have some very talented running backs. They've settled in on their quarterback. So, and they're good up front. They have 4 seniors and 1 junior offensive lineman, all big-size guys that like to get after it. And, we know that there's going to be some times in that game that we have to capitalize. We can't lose our chance at moments in the game. And what I mean by that is taking advantage of field position and putting the ball in the end zone. This is that kind of game, and it's certainly going to be exciting for our kids to have that moment.
Coach, you mentioned Naj's hit, also Delante's and Richie's. Do you think that those big hits kind of cement the mentality that you've been trying to instill, and is that something that builds the confidence of a defense moving forward?
Well, there's no question. That's the kind of football that I love seeing displayed on that football field, and that's what we want to be recognized as a consistent, aggressive, violent football team. And when we're on the field, and be tough gentlemen throughout the day. And and I think what we found is there were some key remember me shots in that game, as I tell them, and that's what we want to continue displaying is a high level of intensity through our actions on the field. And anytime you can spark and set the tone with that physical mentality, it creates some energy and enthusiasm within your football program. We were able to do that Saturday.
Jeff, does this game represent a mindset shift at all? Like going from Ohio, a little more open-ended to, you know exactly what these guys are going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is they're going to try to dictate it on their terms.
Right. Structurally, I mean, you're absolutely right. They know who they are, and they know what they want to do, and their players understand that. And certainly for us, this is the kind of football game. As I tell our kids all the time, we talk about these moments. We saw that Saturday. We saw that in the beginning of the year. We've played some very good opponents in our first, 5-6 games. So I know that we're a group of young men that understand what it's going to take. What I'm expecting is our kids to have a great week of preparation and to go out there and seize that moment against a very quality football team. We need to have this opportunity to see where we're at in terms of the things that even Nick brought up about our physical nature, and going blow for blow. We did that Saturday against a good Ohio football team, and we were able to respond and finish that game with a 1-point win. But regardless, our kids won that game, and they're taking more and more ownership, and that's what we need to have Saturday against Temple.
I know it's about one game at a time. That's huge. But will there be big picture things brought up with the fact that win over Temple and you pretty much can control your own destiny? Will that get raised at all with the players?
Well, you always want it in your hands. You want to control your own destiny. I don't certainly don't want to get in a situation where we've got to hope for somebody else to take care of our business. We'll take care of our own, and certainly we got to go right back and respond. And we did it yesterday. We had a great team meeting. We had a great workout. Obviously a key win like that, can really create a lot more momentum and confidence in your program. And, now it's up to them to have another great week as they did last week. They prepared very well. Our coaches had a great game plan. Coach Inge, our defensive coordinator, Coach Wood, our offensive coordinator, did a tremendous job. So, I feel comfortable that we're all on the same page and we're all heading in the right direction. So this will be a great challenge for us.
Najee, can you talk a little bit about Coach Inge? Because he seems like, as much as he's cool on the surface, he gets pretty fiery on the sideline.
Coach Inge is just excited. He's just enthusiastic about everything. He's going to tell you when you mess up, but he's going to love you at the end of the day. And the one thing he preaches to us is being consistent, aggressive, and violent every single play. And winning the down is when your opportunity is there, you got to make your play, especially on third downs to get off the football field.
Najee, as a defensive back heading into a game against a prolific running team, how do you really approach that?
Well, as always, I'm concerned about controlling the passing game, but any opportunities I get in the run game to help with my fit, I'll be there to help. But my primary concern is the passing game, any play action passes they may want to try, but I'm always prepared to keep my P's and Q's on time.
How was it that you ended up here? Obviously, there was a family connection there, but what is Little Nicer been there?
Well, as Coach said, my mom, she was a graduate at the University of Buffalo, and my father went to Buff State. So there was deep connection here, and I have a lot of family around here, and I felt like I wanted to be someplace close to home, even though I wasn't close to home, if that makes any sense. So with all my relatives here.
Can you talk a little bit about the journey, not only coming all the way up here, but coming in as a walk-on and now being a starter and a guy who's counted on in the defense?
Well, to be honest, our coaches always preach to us, don't let success surprise you. I just always worked hard and just hoped that my opportunity would come, and I would always keep working. And then when my opportunity came, I was going to give the best I have. And I appreciate Coach Inge and Coach Quinn and Coach Jones giving me an opportunity to play football. And I never let success surprise me.
A lot, people wondered, because you guys were all new starters, how the secondary would sort of be this season. Have you guys as a group surprised yourselves at all with the success you had?
Not at all. We didn't believe any of the outside expectations. We knew what kind of secondary we got. We knew what kind of players that we have around us, and success hadn't surprised us at all. We're exactly on pace to where we thought we'd be.
Coach, 10 pass breakups for Najee. That's a big number.
Well, certainly, as Najee said, when opportunity and preparation meet, that's what success is all about. And and this is a young man that embodies that. And I always tell him, I said, never underestimate the spirit of a bull. And this young man has all those, all those ingredients and components that we look for. And, when a young man is being challenged, the great competitors rise up to those challenges, and he's been able to do that. He's #1 in the MAC. And one of the top in the country. So I think he's going to have his opportunities again, as he mentioned this weekend. I'm sure people are going to try to continue trying to probe and find ways to try to get big plays down the field. And Nigel's been able to come up big this year.
Walk-ons that make that leap have to be pretty rare. What did you see, not just in Najee, but what are you looking for when a guy all of a sudden ends up trying out for the football team?
Well, Najee has a tremendous gift. He's fast, and but he's a very smart young man, and he cares deeply about this university, as you heard, and his family does, and that's special for us here at the University of Buffalo. And he's made the best of his opportunity, and he's well coached. He takes coaching well. He's an inspired young man. He knows there's a lot of people counting on him, as he has mentioned. So, those are the things that I look for every day. I saw it every single day in off season, and, him showing up every single time. We asked him to do things in the special teams area last year. We tell our kids all the time, if you want to be noticed, then go show yourself, each and every day. And he was able to do it in special teams. And then when the time came, when an opportunity of a scholarship was available, I decided to reinvest it in a young man who's already here, who's already committed himself to this university and our program, and the two things that we expect out of every single player, and that's graduate and help us compete and win championships. So I'd much rather invest my money into those young men, and now we're starting to see those rewards pay off.
As you're a little bit taller than Dom, but it seems like there's a lot that you might have picked up from him in terms of tackling and hitting. Is that the case?
Yeah, both Dom and JT, Dominic Cook and JT, I tried to learn as much as I could while they were here, because I know they were both good football players, and they both get an opportunity to play in the NFL. So I tried to soak in as much as I could. Every day in practice, I would ask Dominic or JT, what should I do to get better? What can I do to be, almost more like you, so I can get to your level one day? But yes, definitely.
Jeff, you talked a little bit after the game about, the confidence that would come from a win over Ohio, all the things that you've been preaching now that there's the evidence. Have you even sensed it in a couple of days since then that this is a little bit of a different team now that has that physical and visible evidence to back up everything they've been told?
Absolutely, Paul. And, and that's the thing that I kept reminding them. I said, it's not if, it was when. They've been ready to win. It's just a matter of going out there and doing it. And, they were able to learn from that Ball State game. That's a 1 extra point. It's a 3-point game. It's a, 2 fourth downs. It's, we had to flip the script Saturday night. And we had talked about it. And those are moments in these seasons that you can't let slip through. You've got to learn from them, and hopefully when you get put in those positions again, as we did Saturday night, you learn. And then these kids came in off that field, knew that they did something very special for each other. I didn't win the game. I told them they won the game. All we did is put you in position, and that's what we are going to continue doing. That's been the plan all along, and it's starting to show itself, and that's a good feeling for our football program here.
You've got the 2 top running backs in the MAC. I think both guys are in the top 20 in the country rushing. Is that a little bit of the battle within the battle of this game Saturday, that whichever Pierce or Bo may have the bigger game may help his team win this game?
Well, you may want to put it between those two, but there are, Bernard and Bo are not going to play against each other. Physically, they're going to be our offense against their defense and our defense against their offense. So, it's about that in our offensive line as opposed to their offensive line. So there's going to be a lot of dynamics in the game. But really, Bo is just a tremendous competitor, and we know Pierce, is another tremendous competitor. They have another running back, Brown, number 22, and they kind of change it up in there. So, it's going to be a great matchup. They're doing the things that they want to do, and they want to continue building on their identity as we do. And that's what I love about these kind of matchups, is to see where we're at. We need to be able to show how far we've developed, how far we've come along, our week of preparation, and then it's about performing out there on Saturday and take advantage of our opportunities when those moments take place in the game.
You got to stack it against them, right? You make them try to beat you through the air. You got to take them out of the comfort zone.
Well, absolutely. You always take away there's 2 things, right? There's structural things that this this team that we're going to face, Temple wants to do in the game, and we have to know how to take that away. And we certainly see that on film, as we know as coaches. That's why we have a tremendous coaching staff here, and they spend a lot of time on film. But the key is the personnel and guys making plays in critical moments in the game. That's what we have to get through to our young men, and that's what Saturday's game represented to me. Is now you learned, you found a way to win, and now you have to do it again. And nobody, the game's over, and now we've moved on. Now it's about how do you get the next one, and we're gonna practice them hard. We're gonna be smart, but I want our kids to go in there with a belief, in a sense that regardless of the circumstances, we're gonna fight and compete for 4 quarters.
Jeff, they are #1 in the country in kickoff returns. After last week, can we assume you're going to spend a little more time on that in practice?
We need to be a lot smarter than kicking it to their best guys. I think you bring it up. I mean, you folks all know those are things that we have to eliminate. Period. You can't allow those special teams, can change out, the game immediately. We all know that, and that's what happened, and that's what one area that we need to do a better job. Is doing a better job of not kicking to their best receivers or their best returners, and then also certainly get down there and with an attitude. And stay in your lanes and block destruction and all those things that every coach in the country is talking about right now. But we certainly do not feel as our special teams last week coverage unit did not measure up the way we expected them to, and that was brought up to the team because the week before at Tennessee, it was a highlight of the game.
You mentioned it's not head-to-head, but you think a guy like Bo is relishing the opportunity to be going up against the other guy who's having a tremendous amount of success in the MAC at a running back?
Bo is a great competitor. He's, this is a young man that doesn't even concern himself with all that other stuff. He's about how he can help this team get better. What's he need to do? He's so focused on himself being at his very best and getting others around him to play at that same level. And that's what I love about Bo. He's not talking about Bernard Pierce. He's talking about himself, this offense, this team, and what he can do to help this team. And that's why, him being recognized MAC East Division, the MAC East Division Player of the Week, and also Rivals.com Conference Player of the Week, all he did is turn to his offensive line and the rest of the guys. Said, you guys did it. And all I'm going to do is continue giving you everything I got. So that's the beautiful part of this this team, and especially with guys like Bo.
Is it fair to say that as a sophomore, he's already one of the biggest leaders on the team?
Absolutely. And it's not by what he says, it's about what he does.
Can you just backtrack a little bit and talk, how was first contact between you and the football program here? Did they look at you at all, or did you just contact them? How did it come about?
Well, they were recruiting another safety from my high school, and one of the coaches who was here with Coach Gill's staff actually saw me playing, and we exchanged information, and I showed him my tape, but I played linebacker in high school, and he told me I was a little bit too small to play in college. So in my head, though, I still thought I could play, but they told me I could have the opportunity to walk on here, and I examined all my other college choices, and I accepted this opportunity here.
Najee, how Temple has sort of become a rival here, going back to the Hail Mary game from years ago and over the last year. Is this a game that you and the guys maybe get a little more fired up for? I mean, it's a rivalry game. Those do tend to mean something. I mean, are you excited even more than normal to know that, aside from the fact that they're good, are you excited that it's Temple on the schedule?
No question about it. Last year, a homecoming game, we were really disappointed, and a lot of people remember that, and this week is all about payback. I mean, that was a disappointing loss last year, and that's definitely on a lot of guys' minds, and we got to redeem ourselves this week.
Because you made too many mistakes and you didn't play well? Is that's where the drive is coming from a little bit from last year?
Yeah, definitely, and it's also just to show everyone that UB is here to stay, that last week's win versus Ohio wasn't just a one-week fluke, that we're here to win out, and right now we're 1-1 in the conference, but we're plan is to win one game at a time and win the rest of them.
Can you talk a little bit about how much confidence you guys got from that win, how much the belief changed, maybe to hold your head up a little bit higher because you finally did figure out a way to get one of those last week?
Well, from a defensive standpoint, it was excellent because the Ball State game, we were put in the same scenario, and we weren't able to come up with the same outcome we did on Saturday. So to get a second opportunity and to stop them twice on defense, it's just amazing just to see. And it did give us a newfound confidence that we really needed. And it lets us know that we can do it, and we are here to stay.
You guys reacted pretty strongly. Obviously, big moment in the game when Richie made that hit. I mentioned it earlier with Coach Quinn. As players, do those big hits stick in your mind and build that confidence?
Oh yeah, definitely. Everyone gets fired up after a big hit. I mean, after Richie really hit him and Delonte Wallace's hit, I mean, I just remember going crazy on the field because those big hits, they add up and they just get you pumped up and just ready to go. So.
Thank you.